Hey you guys! So for the last few days I have been using the Insta360 GO Ultra vlogging camera to capture my real life. And since I partnered with Insta360 on this video, I wanted to see how this little vlogging camera fit into my day-to-day as a solo creator. My goal was to see if this camera could help me film my mundane life in a way that still feels cinematic, which is what you guys already know me for. So in this video I'm gonna walk you through the features that stood out to me the most, show you the behind the scenes of how I use them, and then of course show you the footage results from the few days in my life. And if you want to check out this camera after watching, I'll have everything linked in the description. The first thing that stood out to me straight out the box was how tiny this camera is. It's actually one of those cameras that you can just pull out quickly and capture a moment without overthinking it. And no shade, but this camera you could actually fit in your pocket, and it's sturdy enough to toss in your bag without a case. And to me that matters a lot because a lot of everyday moments go undocumented because you're too busy fiddling around with a bulky setup that's just so inconvenient. When I was spending the day at the botanical gardens, this was something I appreciated right away because it was sunny, I was out there for hours, and it felt easy to carry around and use throughout the day without feeling weighed down by a whole camera setup. I also really like that the standalone camera detaches from the action pod, and then you can still use the action pod as a viewfinder and a preview screen while you're filming yourself. And as a solo creator, I'm filming everything by myself, so this makes it a lot easier to set up a shot, make sure I'm still in frame, and hit the record button from farther away. Another useful feature for me was the hands-free POV. So if you're a solo creator like me or someone who is just shy about filming in public, this setup makes a lot of sense because you can capture your whole day without feeling like you constantly have to hold your hand up and record in front of your face. I was able to get a lot of footage these days with me just mounting the camera on my chest and going about my regular life. So like when I was walking through the park, brushing my teeth, grabbing coffee, making breakfast, it just felt like a more immersive way to document my day. Something that really makes this camera so fun and unlike a lot of other cameras is that you can literally mount it anywhere. And because it's so small, I could literally put it in places I wouldn't be able to with a bigger camera. And like I said, that's what helps make ordinary moments feel a lot more dynamic and fun to film and watch. At home, I used it around the kitchen while I was filming and resetting my space. And at work and my commute, getting little city moments on my lunch break. And it gave me shots I probably wouldn't have gotten otherwise, or would have had to add a whole bunch of other accessories to get that angle. But of course, none of those other features would matter if the footage didn't actually look good. And for such a small camera, I was so impressed by how strong the footage actually looked and the quality, especially in bright daylight settings. And sunny environments do kind of make me nervous, especially when I'm not using an ND filter, but I was pleasantly surprised with how good all of the footage came out. So because of that, it became one of my favorite settings to use this camera in. Now, I did try this out in a few different settings, but the bright outdoor footage is definitely where this camera felt the strongest to me. That's where the shots looked the cleanest and most vibrant. Then later on the rooftop and at sunset, I also tested it in lower light just to see how it handled more real life evening moments, and it still looked amazing. But I will say though, if you're gonna be filming in a low light setting, Insta360 does recommend that you film in pure video mode and turn on the jitter blur reduction. When I saw that this camera had waterproof capabilities, I knew I just needed to test out that feature because there's not many cameras out there that have that. And on top of that, it's one of those things that really just open up the creative possibilities, you know? And just to be clear, the standalone camera is waterproof. The Action Pod is not. I tested this waterproof feature a few different ways. First was under a small waterfall at the gardens, then in a glass of water while I was making breakfast, and then again while I was watering my plants. So it's obviously a practical feature, but it also makes for really cool shots. Now, a couple of the more practical features I want to mention about the Insta360 GO Ultra, and that is the removable SD card and the Apple Find My feature. I know those are not like flashy features, but they do matter a lot, especially when you're using such a tiny camera on a regular basis. Solo creators like myself, we record a lot, so it's very convenient that you can add a removable SD card to store a lot more content and not have to worry about offloading your footage so often. And of course, the Find My feature is pretty necessary because this little thing, it could get lost in a second. In just a few days, I somehow misplaced this in my own apartment. That's on me. And really quickly, I know that this video is all about the Insta360 GO Ultra camera, but we have to take a moment to talk about the Insta360 Mic Pro. The fact that you can put custom images on your mics, these are honestly the coolest things ever. I love it so bad. I'm also using the microphone right now to record this review, and I used it for some of the talking portions in the vlog footage. I played around with it on my balcony just to test out the noise cancellation, which has 2 levels, weak and strong. Okay, so here we are outside. I personally think the internal microphone sounds really good. Okay, so this is the microphone on. The noise canceling level is on level strong. There is a breeze going by. There are cars driving. Oh, and there's a car revving his engine. I don't know if you can hear that. So this is on weak noise canceling. I think you can probably hear that police car. I may prefer the weak noise canceling just so you can still get some of that natural sound, but hearing me clearly. I think I like this. I think this is good. The microphones easily pair to the Insta360 GO Ultra. Sound design, sound quality, and audio are really important when it comes to creating content, especially when you're trying to romanticize your everyday and film in a cinematic way. So these mics were a really great option without overcomplicating my whole setup. So after using the Insta360 GO Ultra vlogging camera for a few days in my life, I will honestly say that this makes the most sense for solo creators, lifestyle vloggers, anyone who just wants to make their everyday life a little more cinematic without having a huge setup. And most importantly, I think this is great for those shy, introverted creators because the size is just much less noticeable than a traditional camera. So ultimately, that was the whole point of this test for me, not just to see if it recorded well, but whether or not the camera made everyday life easier and more fun to document in a way that still feels intentional. So yeah, that has been my real life review of the Insta360 GO Ultra. And if you want to check out this camera, it is on sale right now. Plus, if you use my code Georgie, I have a code, you can get up to 21% off. Plus you get free gifts, 200 gigs of free cloud service, and they have a limited edition Hello Kitty version of the GO Ultra, which I am so jealous of because it looks so freaking cute. But anyway, I'll have all of that linked in the description and in the pinned comment. But anyway, thank you guys for following along. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and a big thank you to Insta360 for sponsoring this video. Shout out to everybody. I had fun. Peace.